Digital Marketing School. Today we're talking to Mark Little from Storyful.com. Mark, welcome to Digital Marketing School. Can you tell us a little bit about Storyful.com and the genesis of the idea?
Yeah, I'm Mark Little. I'm the founder and CEO of Storyful, which is kind of the first news agency designed for the social media age, formerly of RTE for a long, long time, and just came here this morning just to talk about the wisdom in the crowd. I think that's a kind of a best way of understanding the potential of social media, is not to look at this huge crowd chattering about everything, but actually to find the people within that crowd who influence thinking and trends. And that's the key to understanding and making best use of social media as a communicator, whether you're in marketing or you're in journalism or public relations. I think that's the key, finding that wisdom in the crowd rather than the wisdom of the crowd.
And do you think there will be a synthesis between new social media-driven news agencies and traditional agencies?
Very much I'm about this idea of a synthesis between new and old media. I think the choice between the two is false. I don't think that old media will die because of the arrival of social media. I think the two will merge at some point in the future. If you're smart and you're ahead of that merger and you understand the forces behind it, you can be a newspaper, you can be a broadcaster, and you will survive and you will prosper and it will be great for you. But if you don't understand social media, if you do nothing to try and integrate it into your news gathering or your marketing department or your public relations, you will die, because it is absolutely certain that social media will become the main driving force of communications in the world. It already is. It's just we haven't woken up to the fact. I think some very interesting and some very progressive news media communication brands are starting to wake up to that realization and putting plans in place to transition to a much more community-driven approach to journalism, marketing and public relations. And unless you do that and integrate that fully into what you do, I think you're going to have serious problems. Whether you are a brand, a media agency or a newspaper, you've got to get on top of that train or else it's going to leave without you.
And how significant do you find online community is in sourcing a story, and how do you maintain the quality of that story online?
Yeah, I think the principle I have about news, and I think it applies also to brands and to marketing campaigns, is that every event, every campaign creates a community around it. So if you seed something to a couple of people, that couple of people becomes tens of people, and then hundreds, and then thousands. And that's the way events happen in this new social media environment. So in a news event, we go and we find the people who are talking about that event, the eyewitness, the connector, the influencer, the person who's pushing the information out. We watch the reputable sources, and we've effectively got a really true, authentic picture of what's happening. I think for marketing people, they've got to understand that they put a campaign out or a piece of content or they say something about their product. People will react. It's a community. It's not a market. It's not one way. You can't just sell something to people anymore. You have to engage them first, build trust, build respect. And that is the currency of this new world. In the old days, you had advertising campaigns and billboards and campaigns on television which broadcast to people. Now it's all about engaging them, because they will form a community with or without you. And sometimes that community is a very bitter, nasty place for a brand. But if you're in the middle of it all, engaging with the people around you, talking to them when something goes wrong, and then hopefully reaping the benefits when something goes right, I think you're going to be on top of this game.
And where do you see the future of Storyful.com? You said you were going into the States and you've recently launched an app. Can you tell us some more about that?
Yeah, about 10 days ago we just introduced what we call a public curation app, which allows people that use our site to become part of the site, to actually submit stories. So we've got a good sort of interest in it initially. We're working on some of the bugs in the app, and hopefully over the next 2 weeks we'll roll it out in the States and make it a bit more, put a bit of marketing heft behind it. And the idea behind this is that if we can get tens of thousands of people coming to us with ideas and stories and content, then that's how we scale. That's how Storyful becomes, hopefully, a big media brand. But we'll always, I think, be in partnership with others. I think we're supplying a part of the puzzle to the big news organizations, the big media brands like news agencies. And I think that's our place, is really become a public utility, giving people the ability to take part as the wisdom in the crowd. Find that wisdom, hand it over to somebody else, and let them engage. And that's our sort of business model as we go forward.
Mark Little from Storyful.com. Thanks for talking to us today at Digital Marketing School.